Hello, my name is Tyrantosaurus Rex, and welcome back to Minecraft Steampunk Modpack Episode 5. I'm a little bit concussed and my voice isn't its best, but I will do my best to walk you through what we're working on here. The overall goal of this episode is to get our machinery going proper, to actually get our water wheels set up, and to figure out what our startup setup is going to be here, as well as to work on our house a little bit, but we'll get there. Are we hearing a strange sound from outside? No, I've decided to just wall up the walls just to stay away from it. Hi, was villagers. It's Solar to save the day again. Looks like we start out by building the house this time. I like using half slabs for everything. We have a mod that lets us use half slabs as walls and as ceilings. I might eventually swap out a lot of our walls with them. I like to optimize my building materials as much as possible, but we'll see how that actually goes and how it looks once we get to that point. And I definitely don't do that in this episode. But for now, you get to enjoy my voice while we watch me try to figure out how I want to actually build this house. Looks like I've got a basic idea. The main confusion for me here was that this looks like one of the church steeples that has an alchemist's table inside of it with a ladder going up into it. But the building's reversed. The entrance was at the front, where usually the alchemist's table and the ladder going up would be. And we've put a door there. And the tower part is at the back, where the entrance was. So I had no idea how I wanted to build up and use the second floor. I still don't. I haven't really built up to it yet. And as you can see, I've kind of figured that out just now, that I don't know what I'm working on. But that I'm kind of getting there. Let's see what we do here. Yeah, I just gave up and built it in as a roof for now. We will eventually build up and actually use a little bit more space up here, rather than having literally everything down in the mines. Especially since Solar is always back and forth from storage, and I'm not going to be able to build a very expansive storage down in my machinery and crafting area for quite a while. Not one that makes any sense, at least. These I throw stuff in whatever chest set is available, and we both happen to do that. And eventually, we're going to need some sort of sorting system, and to set that up, we're a little whiles off. So for now, fill up a chest. If we need to move it, shift right click on it, you pick it up, and you run around with it. And that's about all she wrote. At this point, we haven't gotten our heating set up. So we're playing around with a campfire. I had thought that we had gotten our heating set up in the previous episode, but I suppose we hadn't. It definitely didn't help that we didn't have the building closed in. And the heating and everything is through the mod Cold Sweats. And as far as I can tell, the main thing you need to manage is oxygen as opposed to your heat. There's a lot of times where having a hearth is nice just to have a comfy home. There's a lot of times where you need to avoid extreme cold, you need ways to stay warm, you need to avoid extreme heat, and you need ways to stay cool. Extreme heat is a major issue with lava, so the nether is a problem. We haven't been there quite yet. And getting up in higher elevations, it gets colder and you need more oxygen. We figure out oxygen a little bit later here. Not quite sure how far in later, but we figure out oxygen a little bit later here. The furnace also keeps you a little bit warm, so the campfire wasn't specifically needed, but getting the hearth set up was nice, because watching your temp go down is kind of spooky. I find out later that unless you're wet, or there's like a severe winter, and I don't know if that's a thing, you really don't need to worry about that. Like, you can just run around out in the cold, and you don't get cold enough to actually, for it to be too much of a problem. Let's see. here I'm looking for fishing rods and any fishing mods that we might have because Solar likes to fish. We have some stuff in here that's new, but I don't know if there's a progression system or what it does. It looks like a lot of it is based around going under the water and actually exploring underwater temples as opposed to fishing. Which doesn't mean fishing is useless, but it does mean that we don't have, like, aquaculture and stuff yet, and that there's not as much fun to be had in fishing, but I'm still gonna get an enchanted rod made and see if Solar actually wants to use it and play around with it. We'll see how that goes later. For the most part, after building the house and getting the hearth going because of being afraid of being cold, I'm taking inventory, looking at everything that we have, trying to figure out what's what, if there's anything here that I want to use, anything here that helps. This here is specifically a magic book I made for Solar, and something neat that we figured out here is that this book does damage when you hit things with it. It has damage numbers on it, which really surprised me. This book is a weapon. Something we do craft here, I believe, that we figured out from this book, which I'll let you know when I see it here. If I don't see it, I'll just tell you. I can talk about it right now. Looking at all the different rings, we have portable enter chests already, gold rings. And this specifically gives you a little bit of luck when you have it on, and it also acts as, I'm reading it out. This is what the chipmunk talk is right now, me doing dialogue reading it. But it gives you luck. And I have one ring slot available because I have something hard mode enabled and I have a ring slot permanently taken up by that. I don't know if that changes in updated versions of the mod pack. We haven't updated in a little while. The stream's getting to be a little bit outdated. I think we've missed 2 updates. We'll see what they have to offer here in the next stream. But I definitely immediately made golden rings for both of us. And I probably should have made 2 for Solar if I didn't make 2 for Solar, but I didn't think about that until just now. I bet that luck affects stacks. And effectively what luck does is that it should affect block drop rate, and it should affect mob drop rate, but I'm not entirely positive on that because there's no description of the luck effect anywhere that I could find. But that's normally how luck applies in Minecraft with mods. But either way, if we kill mobs and they drop more, that's very nice. If we mine blocks and it drops more, that's very nice as well. Let's see. I believe I'm getting water sources. Is this to put in something, or is this because I want to... It's for an icebox. Okay. So at this point, we're making water skins for cooling because I thought it was going to be deeper the further down we went, like it is in real life. But it was just deeper where I was digging because there was lava around me. Solar goes spelunking later, which you might see in some videos on her channel if she gets them edited out at some point. She's not quite as used to doing dialogue like I am or editing videos, and she hasn't quite come into her own with it. Just found a goat horn. I like instruments, playing around with it. Regardless. Depth doesn't equal temperature. You do still need oxygen down there, and that's important. The icebox will be important later. A boiler to actually make heated water skins will be important later, so it's okay that we've made it for now. But the heat problem was 100% from being stupid around lava. And having this here for gathering obsidian for another portal is going to be very important as well. So it is definitely good that we have it, and that is something that I would like to do in the next stream, is for us to actually get into the nether. Mainly because I need to capture blazes, and there's other resources I need from the nether specifically to progress some of my machinery, which you will see me work on later on. Blazes specifically go into... what was it? A little box that you feed some kind of fuel. Any kind of fuel, really. I'm probably going to feed it dried kelp. And I'm probably going to have that automated. Be playing with torches because you right-click on them and they shoot out particles. But I'm probably going to feed them dried kelp and they're used to heat up cauldrons for mixing different metals. I actually need that to make some form of alloy. Don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I might be able to tell you in the second episode, because I believe that's when we actually get to the point where we're looking at that. But short term, trap blazes, feed them, they make things hot. It's very nice. Now, here is where we're trying out the water skins. I've gone up to grab some more copper to trade with the goblin that we just ran into. Or for when we run into goblins. I don't know why I'm putting coal inside of that at this point, because that hearth lasts forever. Like, you don't need to refuel it very often at all. I don't know if it goes off of house size or what, but here I am getting distracted again, looking at different things. I just want to know how to stay cold and warm. That's all I want. Apparently Heart of the Sea can be used to make neat things, though. And that's something that grinding wheels are going to be useful for, and I'm going to get grinding wheels set up in episode 7, I believe? It's either episode 7 or episode 8. So that's something to look forward to. And yes, I am definitely going to give you spoilers for what I know happens ahead of time. Gather all the logs I'm going to need, because I'm going to need to put andesite alloy on these logs and get as many of those andesite alloy blocks as I can get for crafting and for building my machinery and for anything and everything in between. I might actually do that in the house here in a minute. I don't think I've made any of them yet. And there's a better way to be doing it than this. And that is to just strip the logs on the tree instead of cutting them down first, but at this point I'm still afraid of being out in the cold. It's not until I go and get some kelp that I am no longer afraid of the cold. And here we are with our first andesite cases. We are finally gathering what we need to properly get started and create here. And here, shortly in this episode, we will be going down into the mines, because I figure, why worry about temperature when I can just be underground and be a dwarf? And just be down there and build my machines and not have to worry about temperature. And if I ever need to worry about temperature, maybe I can build a machine to pump the right temperature air all over the place. That'd be fun. Oh man, it'd be a dream to be able to pump oxygen down into the caves and everything as well. We'll see if that's ever possible later, but I'm not sure if that's something that's been implemented yet. I'm laughing here because I filled my entire inventory with nuggets, and I did not need that many nuggets. For some reason, I felt the need to take an entire stack of zinc and throw it into the crafting table and just shift-click to make nuggets. Had to undo that and make space to make the andesite alloy that I needed to actually be able to continue here. Andesite alloy is used for the andesite casing, it's used for making rods. Rods are used for making all types of machinery. You need them on their own just for transferring kinetic energy. For attaching belts to it, for those belts to be able to turn. Andesite alloy is needed for everything. Eventually we go into brass. And brass is what we need the place burners for. And I just looked at that just now. Alright, so it is this episode that I check it out. I've only gotten as far as realizing that I need a mixer to be able to make alloys. I don't think I've realized that I need the blaze burner just yet. But I do realize that later at some point. This is the cave I choose to build in. And it's going to look quite a bit different by the time we're done here. You're going to get to see me mining just a little bit here, just digging out walls, making things look a little bit more uniform. I haven't decided on a completed look for my cavern yet, but I will eventually decorate everything. And more than likely I will build it like it's some sort of dwarven labyrinthine cavern full of machines, with occasional farms every here and there. I'll eventually have moving walkways that carry you around places and elevators that go up and down. It'll be fun. We'll get there. It'll be entertaining. We have most of what we need to make most of that right now, but I need to get automated farms set up next. I don't quite have that set up. I have my power sources set up. And I need to get some of those automated farms fed into automated cooking. I need to get some of those automated farms set up to go into storage. Especially since we do need to work with villagers. They just implemented a new mod with one of the updates that has to do with villagers. And I can't get near villagers. They're hostile against me. Most things are hostile against me except for Goblin Traders, apparently. So, I'm gonna have to convince Solar to manage villagers for me. Somewhere. And or I'm going to have to trap them and hope that I can trade with them while they're trapped and angry with me. But I doubt they'll trade with me. So I had to get Solar to manage most of that, which shouldn't be a problem as long as I provide most of the supplies. Plus, I'm sure she'll enjoy the additional experience source. Hey, I'd also like to apologize for the obvious jump cut here, because I did not realize that there was a moment where I was playing with settings forever, with the game just kind of paused, not doing anything. Anyways, we're back to me trying to figure out where I'm setting up my machinery. We've dug out most of the walls here. I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put my water wheels. And how I want the water set up. My original idea was that I wanted it to look like my water was coming from an underground spring behind the walls here. It didn't quite work out that way. And you'll see what the idea was here once I actually get the water wheel set up and I get kelp later. However, it works. And the water flows over the water wheels. And I get the power that I need to get started to start building my machinery. I don't dig out the entire... Oh, wow. Alright, so I had planned to turn this into a lake to farm my kelp in. And I suppose I decided I was going to do that before even attempting to get the water wheels going. Needed to be at least too tall for kelp to grow in. Do I need to dig a deeper one? Do I dig a deeper one? I might. I also didn't need to go through this and do all this water by hand, because I could have done it with kelp, as I was going to be drinking kelp anyways, but it was nice to have it completed and looking at least a little bit decent. Despite it being a random pool of water in a random cave, that doesn't look like a natural random pool of water. I'd like to mention that Solar is AFK and we're about to have a very funny visitor here. Flow going backwards on this would help, but... Hi! He's very excited to see Solar. I do this every day. I understand. Here you go. Thank you. I got my copper trade in that I was looking for earlier. I got the goblin to calm down for a minute. Sandy was very excited about Solar. Traded a bunch of my cobblestone for some emeralds here. It's nice to have a stockpile of those for crafting if we need them. I'm not sure if I've checked to see if I need emeralds for anything. And beyond that, even just trading later is going to be nice to have emeralds. Whether it's with Goblin Traders or any other kind of trader, it'd be nice to have a stockpile of emeralds. Yeah, every time I walk away, Sandy's going to be very excited about Solar. And there goes our water wheels. Alright. I am so excited to see those going. Now, I like to mine out the block from under them so that there can be backflow of water under them. I'd have no idea if that helps. I don't know what the maximum speed of these are. Don't know what their maximum torque is, or if it affects the maximum torque, or what. But it's nice just to have backflow under it, just because that counts as something that does spin the water wheel. I can have water spinning backwards under it, and it will spin it. Now, let's see. Solar's back and is asking about the Goblin Trader. I've said I've expended most of their trades, but they were very excited to see Solar. We have a conversation about that. Sandy hangs out for quite a while, but eventually Goblin Traders leave, and eventually they're replaced by new ones. Which is good, because fresh trades for doubling ore is very nice. So we get so much iron, we get so much copper, so we get most of our gold. And I will eventually end up processing all of that anyways, despite it being better to go for trades, but... I believe I'm looking for sand for glass here. I'm thinking I'm making a diving helmet and a tank of air. And here specifically, Solar managed to place a cross of sticks. And we could not figure out how that was even possible. I could only place one. I couldn't place two. I don't know what that would be used for, other than window design. So I would have to imagine that you click on one side of one block facing in one direction and click on one side of the other block facing in another direction. That is what I'm working on, the diving helmet and the tank of air. I do only end up making one of each of these, and we both kind of need to have them. Me specifically, because I'm always at risk of accidentally drowning myself. That's always a problem with me. There is always a chance if I'm working on any sort of farm that requires water that I'm going to drown myself. The thing about the tank of air is that if you look at the top left, there is a timer for its charging and how much air it has in it. It goes very slowly on anything except for something that has extremely high rotational speeds. So we're gonna end up building a fun little tower here to make it charge as fast as possible. And it's okay because this doesn't, until we have this hooked up, it doesn't actually use any of our torque force, our rotational force off of the entire system. So we get it set up in a place where it charges pretty much immediately. So now it can be used. You put it on with the helmet. When you're in the deep, down in the... I forgot what the deeper layers are called. Deep slate layers. You don't have oxygen, so you need this, and it gives you 15 minutes of oxygen. We'll also be using this to clear out undersea temples. It's something that's going to be very important for us later, and I hope that we can enchant both the helmet and the backpack. Because they did not go in accessory slots when we first used them. Oh, we're at the end of the episode. This is my AFK screen. I had to go outside and work on a mower. We stop and talk for a minute. And then this is the end. This is the end of this one. And I will catch you all in the next one.